we have got extensive plan for the building, and when building will be completed, of course we are going to face one of the challenge to maintain the building in a sustainable manner, for which of course the financing is important to procure. But I'm sure the building will attract a whole lot of private and public sector organizations, being a first one, the first ZEB building in the Caribbean. So we have got quite a number of plans for this. And we have, of course, one thing is that we are going to open up a research center, renewable energy research center in the building, and which will attract the other research workers in the Caribbean to come and join us for the research work in this direction. I would like to ask now Mr. Geordie Colville, Senior Program Manager, Energy, Climate and Technology Branch of United Nations Environmental Programs, Kenya, to give a talk.
Nearly all of Jamaica's power comes from imported oil. That's not good for Jamaica's budget, and that's not good for Jamaica's security or stability of its economy. Until recently, oil imports exceeded the value of exports, and consumer prices were as high as 40 cents a kilowatt hour. And Jamaicans were suffering rolling brownouts. With policies on energy efficiency and renewable energy, Jamaica can nudge its balance of payments back into the black and drastically reduce the cost of living for Jamaicans, and produce much of Jamaica's power here on the island. So to energy efficiency. Buildings here in Jamaica consume nearly half of Jamaica's power. And so it's not surprising, since the 1980s, the government of Jamaica has been thinking about energy conservation in buildings. And today we have a draft Building Act that would cut energy consumption in buildings by 1/3. So that brings us here to the groundbreaking ceremony today. The Net Zero Renewable Energy Center that we will open behind us will provide an auditorium for 40 people to discuss and think about renewable energy. Desks for Jamaica's best researchers, and it will reduce energy consumption by about 40% compared to similar buildings here in this country. The building will be net zero because of the solar PV panels on the roof, and it will be able to take advantage of the net billing that has recently been introduced by the Jamaica Power and Services Company. The building will also serve as an emergency shelter. Jamaica is exposed to hurricanes, and the building is designed to withstand hurricanes and earthquakes. It will harvest stormwater, drainage water, wastewater in times of crisis to serve those in the building. And on an everyday basis, it will conserve 30% of the water compared to similar buildings. The schedule for this building is to complete it by the end of this year and have it certified as a net zero energy consuming building by the end of next year. This building will reduce the two biggest consumers of energy in these types of buildings, and that is for air conditioning and for artificial lighting. We hope that this building will be a living example that will remind us of the possibilities. We aim to use it to publish practical advice based on the experiences of commissioning and living in the building, to feed these project experiences back to the classroom to professionals and graduates, to encourage voluntary certification schemes, to recognise the achievements of professionals, and to help others aspire to the same. And we want to show win-win solutions for legislators and enforcement. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to ask Honorable Minister Andrew Whitley to come to the podium to give a talk. Of course, Dr. Whitley has been known to most of us. His graduation was done PhD for both bachelor's and postgraduate degree in our faculty. May I ask Dr. Whitley to come to the podium?
Thank you very much, Professor Dasgupta, for that vote of confidence. Professor Kenneth Hall, Professor Dale Weber, Professor Anthony Clayton, Mrs. Kelly Tomlin, deans and heads of department, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The great physicist Albert Einstein is noted as saying, and I quote, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them," end of quote. It is undeniable that the global energy challenges today are the results of our own doing. Certainly at the local level, our consumption-driven energy system is characterized by the high demand for fuel at an average rate of 20 million barrels of oil per annum. Jamaica's resulting energy architecture includes an unsustainable 2015 oil import bill of US $1.1 billion, or just over 10% of our GDP. As scientists, we, amongst other things, solve problems in the world through innovation. So it is therefore no surprise that as the Caribbean's premier institution for research, the University of the West Indies, and I must say a place that at one point I called home, having reached the level of senior lecturer in the Department of Basic Medical Sciences, and more specifically, the Institute for Sustainable Development has taken this initiative in energy efficiency and renewable energy with the creation of a net zero energy building prototype for Jamaica and the Caribbean. I am very pleased with efforts like this, and I acknowledge and commend the various players. The Institute for spearheading this project, the United Nations Environment Programme for providing technical assistance, as well as the Global Environment Facility, who has provided financial support. Innovation such as this net zero building is synergistic with government policy of economic growth, a basis for strategies to revolutionize our energy supply, power generation, transmission and distribution, as well as consumption habits. The singular goal of these strategies must be the maximizing of the GDP created by each million British thermal unit of energy employed. We believe that the adaptation and implementation of net zero buildings will go a far way in reducing carbon footprint, ensuring future utility cost savings, improving their lighting with less glare, increasing worker productivity and comfort, among many other things. the government of Jamaica is committed to energy security and increased energy efficiency. And I must say, in that regard, and as many of you are already aware, there are a number of initiatives that are geared towards a better performance in our utilization of energy. Specifically, efficiency is about yield per unit of energy consumed. This yield is the challenge of our time as a nation and speak to creation of GDP. So it is critical as a community that we become focused on the value creation from our employment of energy resources. The Energy Efficiency and Conservation Program, which the government has implemented, is geared towards enhancing Jamaica's energy efficiency and conservation through the design and implementation of cost-saving measures in the public sector here in Jamaica. In leading by example, to date we have 29 facilities that have received solar control flame applications, 10 facilities that have received a combination of cool roof and solar flame applications. One facility, the Jamaica Information Service, and I'm glad to see representatives from that agency here, which was completely retrofitted with solar control flame, cool roof, and more energy efficient AC units. And there are 3 facilities that have been also retrofitted with more energy efficient AC units. Accordingly, this public sector energy efficient conservation program has scored more than a modest achievement, in that over 100 million Jamaican dollars was saved in less than 2 years. Approximately 3 megawatt hour reduction in energy consumption was realized. In its focus on alternatives, hydropower pre-feasibility and feasibility studies are in various stages of completion at 11 selected sites. Our government recognizes the importance of renewable energy within a portfolio of low carbon and cost-effective, cost-competitive energy technologies, capable of responding to the challenges of energy security and climate change. And I must add at this time that it was only last week, Kelly and myself, we were at, along with the Prime Minister, we were at the Energy Summit in Washington. And I must say that Jamaica was recognized for its role in the use of renewables. In fact, I would just venture to say that we were the poster child, because at all points of the discussion, whether it was Secretary of State John Kerry or Vice President Joe Biden, they kept referring to Jamaica and our initiatives as it relates to energy efficiency and the use of renewables. So we are on the right path. And so as an administration, we intend to develop and implement a green energy policy to encourage the most efficient type of electricity generation along with alternative energy sources. In fact, we are looking in the near future to get us at least 30% of our energy from renewable sources. We also hope to implement and enforce an energy efficiency standards and codes for appliances and buildings, with the goal of reducing energy consumption of new buildings by 50% by 2020 and ensuring that all new buildings use zero net energy by 2050. Developers within the real estate and construction market may understand the implications for building codes as they reposition to construct residential and commercial properties that are classified as net zero buildings. For us, therefore, this endeavor is quite timely, as it coincides with our vision and program for Jamaica's energy development. I must highlight to our investors and our holders the inclusiveness of our development model. You may explore the earnings and savings possible under the net building arrangements that came into effect on April 11th of this year, the first major achievement of this administration in the energy portfolio. And rest assured that many more achievements will be coming in the very near future. As the new energy minister, I am heartened that more entities are following the lead of government, as well as creating new initiatives with an increasing rate of individual innovation. I encourage more institutions, both public and private, to get on board, to do their own research, and to share the results with our national community. You in particular must continue to lead in creating the knowledge which will drive indigenous Jamaican growth. Ladies and gentlemen, let us congratulate and support the UA Institute for Sustainable Development on this net zero building groundbreaking. I am eager to see the results of this project. I look forward to coming back here when we actually open the doors of this building. The lessons to be learned and the knowledge that is being created is something that we are all should be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and we look forward to more initiatives of this kind as we move towards a more sustainable, energy efficient environment.